I think the pledge is so important is that not only does it show that you have a right to feel like safe in your space and feel safe on campus, but also it puts an onus of responsibility on you as an individual to be aware of possible violence happening around you.
The reason that I support the pledge is that everyone on campus is entitled to respect and is entitled to feel safe on campus.
We think that violence is something that happens to other people in other places in isolated instances, but it is something that happens all around us. It's a cultural thing.
Violence on campus and safety issues are something that we often speak about as a community, and when we don't speak about these issues, we tend to become complicit in them. People don't really know where we stand.
I come to uni to study something that I really love, and it's not fair that my fear of violence should interfere with that.
It's really underreported, especially in societies where it might be viewed as taboo.
It often starts with something small, not a whole big explosion. It often starts with something small like catcalling or slut shaming. So all of us have the ability to step in and help our friends and family or acquaintances that we know.
I don't think that violence and harassment are ever the fault of the people who are subjected to it. It's always the perpetrator's fault.
Victim blaming is never acceptable. The fault is always with the person who thinks it right to bring in the violence.
The violence isn't okay, and even then for some than others isn't making any or morally okay to do.
Most international students came here by themselves. Being far away from family, parents and friends, like we really don't want them to worry about our safety.
If you can't feel safe around the people that you love, then what position does that put us in?
Safety is an awareness that if someone is feeling uncomfortable, it's for good reason.
Most of the time, violence perpetrated against someone will be by someone they know. Sure, the more media will promote things that happen, oh, this person jumped out of a bush. But what we're talking about is everyday violence, which doesn't always get the acknowledgement and the severity, the seriousness taken that it deserves.
I think that there's a lot of violence that people don't speak about, and there are also many nuances to different degrees where you might violate someone's boundaries, so it's important to always proactively communicate, even when you might not think that something's going wrong.
I think everyone knows someone who's been affected.
In a social situation, it may feel like it's uncomfortable, but then when you put it on a balance of should I say something or should I let someone's life be at risk, of course you always have to stand up against the issue.
I think it's really important in social situations to stand up, because I think we underestimate how difficult it is to do it amongst our peers, and I think that a lot of us don't realise that if we don't speak up in these situations, people will take that as the accepted standard. They'll take that as the majority opinion, but that might not always be the case.
It's important that no matter where it is, whether it's out in the open or behind closed doors, whether it's with a group of people or with just one or two others, you need to say something.
Bystander doesn't just mean seeing something, speaking up about it. It can also mean just like how you behave in front of others can change their opinions or their language.
You all need to speak out about this issue.
A lot of people associate issues of domestic violence and safety with just being a women's issue, but I think it's something that so fundamentally affects our society in so many different regards that it has to be an issue that the entirety of society, whether you're a woman, a man, or any gender whatsoever, that you need to stand up against this issue.
It's just as much the responsibility of men in the community to tackle these sorts of issues.
That's why it's really important that in such a formative community that we create leaders that live up to our highest ideals.
This issue around violence is not just about the victim and the perpetrator of violence. I think it's a community-based issue.
If a single person feels unsafe on this campus, then that represents a collective responsibility for us all to take this pledge and to acknowledge that we all need to do something more.
It's not a thing that I should do and she should do and he should do. It's a collective thing. If we don't do it as a group, if we don't take the pledge as a group, then we can't all go home and expect nothing to happen.
It's really important that as a community we all recognise that what we say and who we say it to, the way we say it is so powerful and can hurt a lot of people.
Every little thing we have to take seriously, because before it becomes too late to stop it.
what we're asking people to do, and what the pledge is about, you know, getting that bystander intervention, it's not easy, it's not always fun, but if you're looking at really valuing what a safe community means, being that bystander is one of the easiest, most effective ways to, I guess, prevent violence of all forms against everyone.